Hi, welcome back to the Entertainment Hour, and now we are moving back to the world of movies, and we have Jamie Greenberg, who is the writer and director of Stags.
Yes, hello.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
And now I saw the film, and it's very funny, and it's kind of shedding light on a new kind of, what do you call it?
A sociological phenomenon,
okay,
you might say. We've kind of discovered this category called Stags, I would say, and I don't think anyone has ever had a name for it before, but you're probably familiar with it. It's when big city guys basically are 25 until they turn 50. These guys just think, maybe I'll settle down sometime, maybe I'll have a kid sometime, but not anytime in the near future. And they're kind of running around and sleeping around, lots of partying and beautiful women, and no end in sight. And to be honest, I kind of realized that was my life. And I said, what would be a name for this? And I called them Stags.
That's what I was going to ask you. So you said it was kind of your at-home research that led to this?
Well, I like to say that I put in 4
friends?
decades of field research, which enabled me to actually write off everything I've ever paid for in my entire life. So that was nice from a tax standpoint.
Right. And so now, do your friends know that you kind of based this on their lives? Did they talk to you afterwards and they were like, oh, thanks for showing every part of what we do behind the scenes?
I think the funny thing is, actually, a few people have come up to me, people who I didn't know, who see the film, and they come up in almost hello, I'm an alcoholic kind of a way. They come up in like a oh, it's so nice to see it up there. I wanted to tell you, I think I'm a stag.
Oh,
and that's kind of gratifying.
Because they didn't know before that there was a name for it.
Well, once you name something, it's a lot easier to deal with and move forward, I think.
But specifically, there is a storyline that unfolds for these 4 friends. So tell us a little bit about what happens.
Well, it centers on Jack. He's the lead character, and it's Jack and his 3 buddies, as you say. And when the movie begins, they're just kind of living their life of no commitment, no responsibility, these aging Lotharios, you could say. And then very early in the film, they find out that their long-lost 5th buddy, Morty, is blowing back into town with his beautiful new bride to get married in New York. A whirlwind, last-minute kind of thing. Nobody's ever met this bride, Amber. And so the guys, this kind of puts them out because they're so commitment-averse, oh, I have to get a date to the wedding, but you know what it means when you bring the girl you're sleeping with to a wedding. That's almost like you're proposing, So there's some fun about that. And then Morty drops dead very abruptly early on in the film. The groom, their buddy, drops dead on his wedding night, and our 4 heroes are left with Amber, the bride, who's now a widow after being married for 8 hours. It falls into their hands, and a flickering, forbidden kind of romance starts to develop between Jack and Amber. And the rest of the film is addressing, is it going to happen, isn't it, how can you deal with that?
All right. So is there a moral to the story? Are we in the end saying, hey, this lifestyle may not work? Or is it just giving a name to what a lot of people are doing? And you point out that it's in like big cities that you notice this.
Yeah, I think it's a big New York thing and LA thing. I know that my relatives in smaller towns, none of them can understand how a guy could be in his mid or late 30s or get into his 40s never having been married, I don't know that I would say there's a moral. I don't really like when movies have a moral. I would rather say that it poses a question. Because the movie makes a point of showing you why it's very attractive to be out with beautiful women and strippers and drinking. There's a reason people do that. It's fun.
But it shows the other side of it as well.
Of course it does. And I think we can see, particularly in Jack's case, throughout, that something's just not quite clicking anymore. The pistons aren't firing the way they used to. He has a beautiful semi-girlfriend right from the beginning named Carrie. And she's charming and very attractive, yet he never seems very happy with her. And so I'd rather say the movie sort of poses the question and lets you decide a little bit.
And a little bit like a male version of Sex and the City. Have you heard it described as that, and do you agree?
I certainly have. People have said that kind of from the beginning. And there's a difference between Sex and the City and Stags. I mean, on the one hand, you have these 4 beautiful, appealing, sexy leads, and on the other, you have Sex and the City. So there's a trade-off there. No, seriously, it's kind of a different vibe.
It's a different vibe. But I can see why people say that. It's the 4 friends,
absolutely,
and everybody has a different personality. And like you said, it poses a question.
It poses the question. I think it's fair to say that Stags has a little bit more melancholy and a little more sadness under the surface maybe than Sex and the City.
Sure, and we do have another quick clip, so take a look at that, and then we'll continue our discussion.
The Bachelor group can prove a surprisingly durable social unit.
30 years I knew him.
Persevering as successive generations of females are born and come to maturity.
It's different for women. They have the biological clock thing.
Anthony Quinn had a kid at 107, I think.
It was really quick, but we're kind of setting it up for people.
Yeah, sure. Select the little moments.
Yes,
but you get
understand.
a sense there about how the guys keep telling themselves, well, women have a biological clock, but
right.
guys, you know, look at Tony Randall, look at Anthony Quinn, they're having kids in their 90s.
Right, right.
So why
and
should we hurry?
And they say they're in their super late 30s.
That's right. They say that your 30s, your early 30s is 30 till 36 or so. Mid 30s is 37, 38. Late 30s is 39 till about 43.
43,
and
yeah.
that's your super late 30s.
So, and this all came from your mind as a writer, and then you got to go onto the set as a director, a feature film.
Yeah.
So I love hearing about your experience doing this. Now, what was it like when you first showed up onto your own set?
Well, I will never forget the
was.
actual very first morning. You know, it's an indie film, so the director's call is like 5:30 in the morning, of course. And I'm in a taxi, and we're pulling up at our location. And as we're pulling up, I see trucks and tents and trailers and stuff. And I said, oh, isn't that funny? Someone else is shooting a movie on the same block as me. I hope their movie doesn't conflict with my movie. And then the cab slowed to a halt, and I realized that was my movie. But the point is, I was so naive that I didn't even realize that at our low budget level, you even could have tents outside. And to me, that was the hallmark of a big-time movie, to actually have tents and trucks.
Yes, yes, no, it's true. You always see that, and people are like, who's shooting here? It would be a really cool feeling to show up and be like, it's me.
And I have to say, it's actually a credit to our production department, because we had such a low budget, and yet they were able to really make $1 out of 2 nickels. We had a great cast and a great crew, and we shot for 30 days, 36-day weeks. So for 5 weeks in a row, you're shooting 6 days. And I tell you, on that one day off a week, you wake up, you do some laundry, and it's time to go to bed for your next morning's call.
And what would be a good tip that you give to aspiring filmmakers in terms of they want to make their first film? You got a crash course in it, so what's the best thing that
I would say 2 things. If you're making a feature film and you've never worked in film, it will be the worst experience of your life. And no matter how bad you prepare, you will not be prepared. But in the same breath, I would say do it. You have to do it. Never live out your days saying, I had a movie in me and I didn't make it. Especially nowadays, you can edit a film on your laptop. And you can shoot a film for a camera with a camera that's $1,000 or $5,000. And as rough as it was, now all I can think about is what's my next one. You know, I want to get back on that horse.
Great, great. Well, in the meantime, where can folks check out Stags?
Oh, stagsfilm.com. And you can find us also Stags Film at Twitter, Stags Film at Facebook.
All right.
And please join the Stags Revolution.
All right. We'll keep an eye out for you at the next round of film festivals.
I can't wait.
All right. Thank you so much, Jamie Greenberg. Nice talking with you.
Thank you so much.